Welcome to the Bougie Black Brother Network. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Women Tech Talk. My name is Michael, your bougie black brother, and I'm here with the host of Women Tech Talk, Alicia.
Hello.
And today, it's been going on for a while, and we haven't actually touched it based on some news back in early August. But it seems as though there's some continuous talk in reference of diversity and racial prejudice inside of Google.
That's correct.
So we wanted to kind of have a quick talk about that because there's just so much news that's just keep popping up now that the light has been shined on Google.
A quick talk?
No, I didn't say quick. I just said a talk. They beat the hell out of Uber. But now Google's in the spotlight because of one of their employees.
All of them are in the spotlight. It's just that Google just moved up to the top after Uber, the whole Uber incident.
So to kind of start it off, because there's just so much other stuff going on, but to kind of start it off, there was a gentleman, and I'm using that word loosely, James Damore. He's a Google engineer. And
A millennium.
he wrote a memo, and I think he placed it on Medium. Or just on a blog. He had his own blog. Okay, talk me through it then.
He put it into the inner office, a Slack kind of thing in Google. And he put it out there anonymously, apparently. And so with that, that's how it all started.
Go on.
So he put it out there and basically it spread. People started sharing it and putting it outside of Google. Cuz he used Google's computers to put that information out there, thinking that it was all right to do it, but it actually was against Google's code of conduct for what he was writing about. And so he said that women wasn't smart enough. He was saying that women are treated differently because they don't know what they're doing. I mean,
So basically, not mansplaining anything, but this gentleman put a memo out and tried to justify what he saw as no need of having diversity or giving special privileges to minorities and women. And he tried to use science, which he used false science of saying women aren't capable of doing certain engineers, minorities aren't smart enough to do certain things. And like Alicia was saying, it was put out in an internal board. And because I thought it was a blog, so I apologize for that. But it got out and people was putting it every damn where.
Yeah.
So by the time everybody was really seeing it, it was placed everywhere. So it looked like he actually went out and put his own blog out and
it
went
actually,
from there.
yeah, it actually
But
looked that way.
What happened really was, the company got the flack from it. And I think this has been going on, but this one, they actually had to do something because he got a lot of comments back from everywhere. So Google got a lot of pressure to say, yo, you're going to allow this guy to say this about women with no factual evidence. And women came back and started saying what's going on. And then the good engineers found out who the hell he was. Because, you got a digital fingerprint on anything that you do. So people will find you regardless of the matter. So he got the flack and Google had to turn around and say, what do we do about it? But how do we do it legally?
Well, actually, also during all this time, they hire a diversity and inclusion person. I think she's like the VP or she's in that leadership position. And she had just just was unpacking her boxes and she's like, I'm just getting here, and then all shit hit the fan.
Yeah, and the CEO, Sundar Pichai, so forgive me for if his name is pronounced wrong, sent out a notice to the reason why he was fired because he violated our code of conduct
Exactly.
and crossed the line by, I'm quoting, advancing harmful gender stereotypes in our workplace.
And I have to
So
question that now
why is that?
because of all the other things that's going on.
What do you
The
mean?
lawsuit, and then the fact that the problem with minorities in Google. So when he said that, I understand what he was saying, but then the repercussions came after that. We've seen other things that are happening in Google.
So you said you sort of disagree. What did you just say?
No,
I'm
I'm
sorry.
saying that what he said is probably not accurate.
What's not accurate?
What he said about how he's handling the diversity issue in Google.
No, he didn't say he didn't. The way he was handling it was he was released because of a violation
Yeah, of the code of conduct.
of the code of conduct.
And that does not represent Google. But that's what I'm saying.
So it doesn't matter if it's still going on. They fired him because of that. Now, Google hasn't acknowledged that they have a culture that's messed up. Until they acknowledge that, what you're saying is he's lying because he has a pervasive culture of that in there.
I'm not saying he's lying. I'm just
So
saying
he either he knows and ignoring it, or he don't know, which makes him fucking ignorant. You know, one or two things makes him a bad leader because there's too much coming out that he don't know. You know what I mean? So that's where the problem really is, because when you start looking at stuff and you're like, well, this has been going on forever, you know. And remember when Google hired what you call it, Uber Technology Chief Executive Officer Travis Kalanick lost his job in June amid scandals over sexual harassment, discrimination, and aggressive culture. You know, so it was really weird. And then that other guy that came, was it a guy that came to to Google before he got hired? Then they found
yeah, some information.
some information
and they
that
fire him.
they was like, no, they was like, no, we
Didn't he
can't, we
came
can't pick
from
your ass up.
Yahoo?
I don't remember. I'm trying
Okay.
to find that data in reference of that. But overall, what we're saying is there's a culture of this going on. And Alicia said plenty of times before, what's going on is the tech industry gets the biggest spotlight. So it's not like it's not going on anywhere else, but the tech industry always are held in a higher standard. And so you're gonna see them all the time. And I know they're kind of like, why you keep looking at us? There's plenty of it's like the child who's saying, well, I threw a rock, but there's five other kids that no, we're not talking about the five other kids. We caught your ass. So if we caught you, we're gonna deal with you. And you're the biggest kid out of all of them. So we're gonna pick on the biggest kid to get the other kids to stop doing it. So in a way, that's what they're doing. So so there's lots of gender discrimination lawsuits that's coming out, and so they had to kind of deal with that. And this guy Damore had a 10-page memorandum
Yeah.
accusing Google of silencing conservatives' political opinions and argued that biological difference play a role in the shortage of women in tech and leadership position. There's a biological difference, which is totally ignorant, totally without merit, and he on the memo didn't actually have empirical evidence to say here it is and this is why I'm saying it. He had speculation and small opinion based statements that wasn't true.
Yeah. Now, in some cases, we could, it probably wasn't true, but then there's people, minorities, saying that some of the stuff that he said is he didn't say is okay. So minorities, a lot of women are saying there are issues that are going on in Google that needs to be addressed. What he's saying is what his perspective is that women are not good in technology. And with that saying, there's people are saying this person ain't even educated on technology.
Yeah.
And so we were talking about that. That's what we were talking about that as well. It's like, okay, so do this idiot not know where all this shit he's learning came from? And for him to put that in his mind is like, yeah, okay, yeah, they don't know what the hell they're doing. And so that's the thing that, how would you say, reevaluate it, or people who know where code come from, is to start educating these people on where it all started. Because even with the articles I was reading was that even the women who were in tech in those times didn't even know of the other women that were in tech as well.
So part of the bigger issue is, and I think you was trying to allude to, correct me if I'm wrong, is you can find any circumstances to say that women aren't qualified. You can find that anywhere. You can find two women who didn't go to college but learned enough and got the job and kind of struggling. And you can say these women aren't qualified. You can find the same amount of men in the same scenario. So when he says certain things, is he correct? Yes. But when you generalize, you're incorrect. And what he was doing was generalizing all women and minorities.
Right.
Except for saying the women that I've dealt with in my circle aren't qualified.
Well, he may feel they aren't because he feels that he is superior over them. And that's why he feels that he can say that.
So if I'm qualified to do a job, right? At my job, I'm qualified to do my job. There's people with the same position as me that can't do their job. I don't think because I'm superior, it's because I know they're not capable of doing their job.
Yeah, but you know the job.
So that doesn't mean he doesn't know his job. If he didn't know his job, he couldn't recognize a person who couldn't do their job.
Hey, we're talking about coding.
Can you do Java?
No, I can't do Java.
But if they hired you to say, I need for you to do Java, but we're going to teach you how to do that. But you on a project and you got to learn to do Java. A person who knows Java can recognize that you can't do Java. That's what I'm saying. So with him generalizing, I'm back to generalization. When you generalize and say, even though you knew this person didn't know this coding or whatever, he's generalizing and saying they're not qualified. It wasn't a fact that with them being qualified. That's just a lane that they didn't know that time.
He's saying all of them.
So do you understand what generalization means?
Yeah, I know, babe.
So that's what I'm saying. If he's saying all of them, that's the thing that he did wrong. But when what we were saying earlier was, if he said within the group that he sees, then he can be right about that. Because within the group that I see, I can be right about that. But what he wanted to do was generalize. And then he attacked the company of saying that they're attacking conservative political views. So he tried to hit everybody without hitting one thing. So he'll start with one thing, then he'd go into another, then he'd start on something else.
He talked about the programs that they put in place to help minorities.
Yeah.
That they were, how he said it was racist, or it wasn't, it's not working to address the issue of trying to diversify the company.
Yeah. So part of that problem, I think, is he thinks it's not working. So there's always programs that doesn't help everybody. You know that, right?
Yeah.
But he doesn't care. So the fact that he's not
He don't know.
No, he doesn't know and he doesn't care.
Right. Okay.
So he doesn't know because he doesn't care.
Okay.
See, he doesn't. So his thought in his mind is minorities shouldn't get any extra anything to help them because they should just walk in here qualified. That's not the case at 100% of the thing. If you need 100 coders, 100, and you only got 30 white men to do it, you need 70 other coders.
Okay.
He doesn't get that. Mm-hmm. He just said, no, there's plenty of qualified white men out there. No, they're not. Especially going to your elitist point, because remember we talked about this elitist attitude to say, hey, I came from MIT. With Georgia Tech, with Texas A&T.
Yeah,
I'm from these big technical colleges that makes me qualified.
Yeah.
But if you're not, then obviously you're not qualified.
But Google has really, try to make it where they are all about minorities or trying to help minorities, because they are really vetting out a lot of blacks, Hispanic, and women.
No, I get that.
I mean, right now. And so the thing is that now a lot of them are saying, and I mean they coming from vetting them from all over the United States to come to Mountain View, and a lot of them was like, nah, not coming out there.
Yeah, because of their culture. And yeah, their culture just has fucked everybody up. You know what I mean? And the problem is they don't understand that what they're doing and allowing these people to speak out with these comments and everything is bad. So the company is trying to do better, but the people within the company aren't accepting it. If you start a company, and remember, if you start small, you most likely had a whole bunch of white guys. And as you grew, you had to get different minorities, genders, all of that. So you grew to that. So as you grew, there's so many other different races and genders that's there. But those white people that come in with those attitudes, you can't vet them out because they're qualified for the position. The problem is they're looking around and don't want to be around women and other minorities because in their mind, the superiority of racial indifference, they're saying, obviously, when I see you, it makes you unqualified.
Yeah,
Not because I know anything about you,
right,
but because you're a woman, it makes you unqualified.
Yeah, it makes you unqualified. I mean, and it's kind of hard because he was so. When I was reading, I must have gotten to 8 pages of
Right.
it, and at some point he was just ranting.
Yeah.
I mean, he was basically him saying, the difference between a man and a woman, the difference between people of color and him, and how Google is doing this wrong, and it's just like, and then there was some points I was like, well, I can understand why he's saying this because he's just a white man and don't have that kind of. He probably never been around black people unless he worked with them.
So within their circles, that's with any ethnic group. Within their circles, they're used to having and knowing what they know.
But see, you think like this whole new generation, is different, has changed, and it hasn't. You still see bits and pieces of racism and discrimination,
but you're gonna have
amongst
that,
the young people.
The reason why you're gonna have that is because if you got people who grew up around their own people, they do not want to deal with anybody else. They just don't want to deal with anybody else. Because if they do, they're kind of like, in Idaho, the black people I knew shined my shoes and worked in the field. The women that I knew was at home with the children. That's their vision of what women and minorities do. Or they're in a society that they had money, and the only people they knew who had money and intelligence are white. So when they see others in there, they're like, what are you doing here? So in their mind, the culture that they've been around is there. So it doesn't matter, you're a millennial or whatever. Most millennials are really open because they're used to growing up with people like that. But you got to take in consideration the class issue. It's about the class issue. You know what I mean? The class issue is if I'm not around people of a lower class, even middle class. I'm not around middle class or lower. Oh, I don't mean to say lower class, but those people, they can't relate to them. And a lot of these upper class millennial kids are the same as their parents. So that's different. That's entirely different. So all of that has to be taken in consideration, because if you don't take that in consideration, you fail.
So now Google has the whole the other issue, which is the women of color who left Google share stories of racism.
The women of color.
Yeah. So Google, there's another article that came out right after the manifesto about women and women and minorities or women of color in Google, and the experience and the reason why they left.
Oh yeah. So, which is pretty bad. And they had a couple of examples of what they went through, which was pretty bad. There's a woman, she's an Asian woman, and a black woman at the same time. They both said, I don't see a lot of women, period. There wasn't like, I don't see a lot of women at Bloom. It was like, I don't see a lot of women, and I don't see a lot of women of color in the executive ranks. Who worked in technical specialties at Google. I don't see any opportunities for myself. The culture there is really discouraging, and that's ultimately why I left. So if you don't see people like you in the positions higher than you, then you know you don't have an opportunity. Some people say, no, if you work really, really hard. So you're telling me everybody before me didn't work as hard as I supposed to be and didn't get an opportunity.
Right.
So that's what you're saying.
Right.
So there was no one else that was qualified. But I got to work hard and I'll be the exception. No, there's a culture that says no. And it's crazy. And then the other lady, she said there was daily aggressions that really added up over time. And it was just demoralizing being around people who said jokes and had, stereotype jokes that they were saying that Asian people are better at math. So you should do good here.
Yep.
And she was emotionally being, just tear down, because if you respond to it, then look at these, they oversensitive, and see, this is why we can't have women here. They're so sensitive about things. So you damned if you do, you damned if you don't. And then back to our other discussion, what you said, this is why a lot of women don't stay in tech.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to get another job in tech because I'm going to be subjected to that same mess that I was at my other job.
I have, there was companies that reach out to me and ask these questions, and the new buzzword is culture. All of a sudden, culture is the new buzzwords for being able to either fit in or not fit in. So I had one young lady who got a job, and then they fired her less than a week, talking about she didn't fit into their culture. And you was like, what kind of bullshit is that?
Because what they're saying is, if you're in a minority or a woman, you got to acquiesce to what we do here. If you don't adjust to what we do, then you're not fitting our culture. So if our culture is racist, you got to fit into a racist culture.
Yeah, but it's the problem. It was a remote job.
It didn't matter. So the thing is,
they knew she was black and everything, but
so here's the thing. Regardless, there's a culture that says you got to deal with the way we deal with things. Yeah. So if I don't like that you'll go out and drinking and get drunk and drive home or talk abusive about people, if I don't like that and I don't participate in that, they feel insulted.
Right. And so this is what I told the CEO of one of the companies. I told him, I said, it's not about her fitting into your culture. It's about your fitting into her culture.
Wrong. I'm sorry. You're absolutely wrong.
No, it is.
No, you're absolutely wrong.
How am I wrong?
Because you're an outsider saying everyone should continue. Whoever comes and work for you, we have to adjust to each individual who comes in.
Well, first of all, if you're in this is why this is not working for Google. This is why it's not working in the tech communities. Because for one, if you're in a group that's all men, how can one woman feel comfortable when you... No. Because this is what I'm hearing amongst the women and women who code.
I got you.
Okay, so, this is what the issue is. And so you're talking about a tech community that has to embrace, or they want women and minorities.
Oh, I get that.
Okay, so again, the flexibility is that, okay, it needs to be flexible. I need these kind of benefits. I need to be I have to see that, that if I'm going to be here, that you're going to respect you're going to respect me. And with that, a lot of the cultures that are all men don't have that. They don't do that. They feel it's all right to, like you said, tell the disrespectful jokes.
Can I explain? Because I'm going to say once again, you're absolutely wrong. Business are not going to adapt to one person. Now let me explain to you why. Because when people talk in generalization, just like that guy Demore did, in generalization, and didn't be clear on what they're saying, that's the problem. The problem is all of these people, all of these men has to say, you're dealing with someone totally different now. First of all, you've been disrespectful anyway. So your culture is actually wrong. It's not her culture they got to deal with. It's the culture that they had there has been wrong. So it's not adapting to her. It's them allowing these men to be disrespectful. That's not her culture. That's their culture. Well, we're just joking. No, them jokes are disrespectful, and it's always been disrespectful. The problem is, if you have someone of a different race and a different culture and a different gender, you're going to have to change because it shouldn't have been tolerated from the beginning. So it's not her culture that they have to change to. It's not the adaptation of giving her some benefits. It's stop being disrespectful and start respecting people. But these company was all men has been allowed to do this. And remember what we said before. Men don't call men out on what they do wrong because they're just dealing with it, which is totally fucked up. So it's not about them saying, we're going to change because of you. No, we're going to change because it's wrong. You don't understand that? What's wrong is stop talking like that. What's wrong is you don't have to have women jokes. You don't have to have Asian jokes. You don't have to have black jokes. Even though you were doing it, that was wrong from the beginning.
If you're an all-male company, and I go to your website and you show your employees as all male, so that means your culture is all about males. That means that, hey, to fit into my culture, we play ping pong, we go to the bar. That's our culture. Mm-hmm. That's what you have to come into. You have to come into our culture. And women are saying, I don't do ping pong and I don't drink beer.
Oh, I get that.
So that culture does not fit for me. Mm-hmm. So I'm not coming to even bother to interview at your company.
I got that.
And so,
I totally got that.
And so when you see the picture, so they asking me, I'm looking at the pictures. I say, okay, so you only have one woman in the office? No, she's not at the office. She's remote. So I'm walking to their office and there's all white male, one with a pretty red hair. So for me, I'm seeing what a lot of women are saying, and this is what I'm reading, and this is what is being said. And what's being said is that you have to, if you want to bring women into your business, you have to make them comfortable and understand that they're welcome into your business.
No, I get that. So stop right there. That's what you should say. Not, no, you got to change for them. No, you should say, how do you welcome a woman into your
Michael,
your culture?
It's being said that way.
So once again, you turn me off as a man, and I take up for women. I know the culture of how they disrespect women. But by you saying that, I'm saying, hell no. Who the hell you think? No, we're not changing for that. The way you said it and how you presented it to me, no, I'm not going to take it that way. I'm going to tell you this is what we need to do. We have plenty. Again, we talking tech, but it's general. When a woman comes in and she's aggressive, they're uncomfortable. But you got plenty of aggressive men. But to your point, if you walk into an area and there's 30 men up in there, and they said, well, we want someone who's going to gel with our culture. So you got a culture of men, and men do things that men do, but yet you said you want women here. So you're going to put one man with 30 women. How is that going to work? Well, she'll get to understand. No. How is she going to understand what a woman has to conform to what men do? If they all talk about sports and nothing that she does. So she has to learn sports. That's what you're saying. She has to do ping pong. She has to learn golf. She has to do Dungeons and Dragons. She has to do all of these other things. She has to conform to a culture, but y'all do nothing because your effort is to say, we want to be more inclusive. But you're doing nothing to be inclusive other than hiring them. You're just hiring them.
They can't get them in the door.
But you try to hire them. So to me, I think it's ignorant to hire one woman. First of all.
Yeah.
One woman, that's dumb. What you need to
totally
do
agree on that one.
is between 2 and 4. So then 2 and 4 of these women can create a culture within that and go from there.
Michael.
But Alicia, I totally, well, we don't have any. I got you. But what you doing, these women won't even step into the door.
And this is the thing. And when I explained to them, y'all need to, and I told him, I said, y'all need to fit into her culture. And he said, well, can you explain that to me? And I explained it to him. I said, what these women want to see is that you don't stay here 10 hours a day as a CEO. They want to know that you spend time with your family. They want to know that they feel comfortable talking to you, going to you, asking you questions. She wants to feel that. I mean, I said these are the things they look at instead of the games, the drinking, the part. They don't. Women have more focus on family and things they have to do to focus to get the things right. Because I've heard so many women say, "Oh, I have to stay late because my boss stay late," and that does.
So men do that too, then, right?
What's that?
Because they boss stay late, they stay late. I get that. So you keep going with we have to give women exceptions. Men, especially white men, do not like that. They do not like that. And when they're in position of power, there's something that you have to approach them with to say, what is the requirement of the hours that I work and getting the job done?
First, the thing is, if you want women there, the women want flexibility. Women are dedicated. Women, especially.
So are they just dedicated for the hours that's allocated to them, or they are dedicated?
They're dedicated.
Are they? Oh, so they're just dedicated.
I mean, this is, and I like I said, and the one thing is, if you want women to work for you, you're gonna have to make it comfortable for them, because if they don't, they're gonna leave.
No, I got the comfortable
so
thing.
The thing
women
is,
are leaving. Let's go back to the article.
Yeah, women
Let's go
are
to
leaving.
the article. Let's go to the article. I know what you're saying, and you said you read articles and you talk to women. They're saying they don't see any advancement, and then they got ignorant ass men saying stupid ass stuff to them. They don't say, and I read another one, they don't say, well, they don't give me flexibility. They don't give me, because some of these women don't have children and they want to advance. They came here to advance. They came here to learn. They came here to say, I got this, the ability to be as good or better. And some of them are better. You already said that. Women code better than men. Didn't you say that? Yep, you said that. So I'm going to go back to that data. You know me, I'll go to data. So they want the opportunity to be better. They want to be that VP and eventually that CEO. If not there, in another company or a company that they create. That's what they want. You going with there's some women that said, I just want the flexibility so I can be with my family and I want you to feel like me. No, that's not everybody. Everybody don't think that way. And all women don't think that way. All women don't think that way. If you talk about married women with children, that's a segment of women. You talk about single millennial women, that's another segment of women. They want to be respected. If women are respected and they said, we're not going to show you disrespect within the workplace, then you're fine. Being disrespectful, being disrespected in the workplace is not a good thing, regardless. So the white men feel that they're being attacked because I can't say what I want to say. This is a free country. My Second Amendment right, my First Amendment right says I got freedom of speech. No, that you don't have freedom to disrespect people and say racist things. And when these guys say, explain what you're talking about, and you clearly say you're doing everything for men, but yet you say you want women, but you got a culture of men. That's just like saying we want you to be on the football team, but you don't have any women lockers. You don't have a separate bathroom for women. And then you're taking away from a culture that's already there. You can't do that. You have to make changes if you want to be inclusive. They're not doing that. They just think they can drop a woman in there and they'll be fine and they need to conform. No, you can't do that. But to you saying you got to accommodate to her, it's not a her thing. It's a change of what you're doing there.
If you're a small company or a company that has no women in them at all, you're going to have to figure it out.
No, I get that.
So the first one you're going to bring in, you're going to have to cater to her to bring her ass in. You're going to have no choice. This guy has no women at all. He's talking about bringing women from up downstairs to help. I said, if you want a woman to come in here, your job description need to change. Well, why? Why I have to change it? I said, because everything on there, she says she'll have 6 experience and the other 4 she won't apply. Because the first thing they said, no women's applying. Of course they're not applying. Your job description you're putting out is not catering to the women. You want that. Then when if you're going to interview them, you better have a woman interviewing with you.
But what if they don't have that? Because they don't have women in their company.
Of course, he said he'll have to bring somebody up to help, to do that. Okay, so then when that woman interviewing, you're saying that you have women working for you. You don't. So again, how do you get women? How does he get a woman in there?
He has to create a scenario to say, I will make it comfortable. I have to create a comfortable environment for someone of another gender to come into a company that's full of men.
That's why he has to cater to her culture to vet her to come into his company.
That was part 1 of our Woman Tech Talk Google Problems podcast. Join us next time on our part 2 segment where we finish it off from Bougie Black Brother Network.